Audible lets you enjoy all your audio entertainment in one app.
That is the truth. Audible offers an incredible selection of audiobooks across every genre.
As an Audible member, you can choose one title a month to keep from their entire catalog, including the latest bestsellers and new releases. I just finished the audio title Lightbringer, which is the 6th in a series, and I just love it. It's so detailed, and being able to listen to it really, really helps me keep up with what's going on.
Try Audible free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/crappins or text crappins to 500-500. That's audible.com/crappins or text crappins to 500-500.
Well, hello and welcome to the Watch What Crappens bonus episode. It's me, Ronnie. Ben is out still sick today in the hospital. So we are joined by the gorgeous and talented Ryan Bailey of the So Bad It's Good podcast. Hello, Ryan.
Hello. Did you know Tom Sandoval was in a jacuzzi with Raquel? I can't believe that.
I can't believe Tom was in a jacuzzi with Raquel and Tom knew about
Did
it.
you know Ben's in the hospital with appendicitis. Can't believe that.
Poor little Ben. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Everybody, this is a Watch What Crappens bonus. These are usually on Patreon. This is being widespread to everybody. So, it's like a Costco sample where you get to know what our bonus episodes are like. But also, I'm not going to keep Ryan Bailey in a corner. I mean, what the hell kind of monster am I?
Yeah, you're not one of my parents. Come on.
Yeah, I went to the Botox lady a few weeks ago, and the lady's like, "Oh, so you do a podcast?" And I was telling her what it was and what it, I was giving her the spiel, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I only listen to one Bravo podcast. It's my favorite thing. I listen to it all the time. It's Ryan Bailey."
No
So
way! Really?
Yeah, I was like
I'm huge with the Botox ladies. Wow, that actually made me feel so. That's worth waking up early for. Wow.
I was like, wow,
huge.
Congratulations, Ryan. And you're fired, Botox lady.
Yeah. Wait, Ronnie, I forgot the last time I saw you in person was at the Crappy Awards in January, and I don't think you guys ever knew. So you had me do that pre-show, and I tore my ACL during the pre-show, and I was soaked, but I didn't even know how bad it was. And if you see when I go on with Courtney from Two Judgy Girls to present, I have a massive limp. My knee was out of commission for like months after that. Like I tore my ACL that night and I was limping, and it was like the highest highs because I was so excited to be there. And then I was just in such pain, like just sweat dripping down my face, which is normal usually. But then just to like tear an ACL, and I was trying to interview people backstage.
Oh my God.
I was like, this is insane.
You poor guy. No, I didn't know that. And thank you for not suing us because I think you could have. Too late. I hope there's the statute of limitations. Maybe I shouldn't bring that up. But I'm so sorry. Also, that place is such hell. I can see how you would tear your ACL. That place is like up the stairs, down the stairs, around the stairs. Then it was raining. It was like the blizzard of Los Angeles, and they had us all walking in the rain. They're like, you can park a block down there and walk. I was like, how is that helping me? How are you having assistants out here to tell me to park down the block, you fuck faces?
I mean, it was like Noah's Ark. I was like, we're going to take two Bravo Labs, two podcasters, put them on an ark. Like and then it was like, I was going, because Chef Marco from Below Deck came to the back door entry, and he was like, I want to meet Ronnie and Ben. And I got so excited to go get you guys. And I literally took a step down and my knee went like just one step down.
It was meeting
Getting
Chef
older
Marco
is no
too.
Joke.
Well, Noah's
I'm
Ark.
going to sue him as well.
Noah's Ark. Yeah, you should sue his restaurant. Noah's Ark. It was the fusion. It was the fusion food that broke your ACL. Noah's Ark happened because of sin. That whole thing was because the world was sinning and the Lord flooded it. And then they had to put two of every animal on the boat. And so that kind of made sense because we did have like two people from every show. We really did try to get that ark going. But it's such a gay event.
that's like
Not many people reproduce naturally. So sorry. Into the Bravo world.
What a tangled web we weave.
I know. So for anybody who doesn't listen to your show, go listen to it because it's amazing. You're so talented. That's why, you were the perfect choice to come to the Crappies and do that Ryan Seacrest thing because everybody loves you. Everybody knows you. You make everybody feel so comfortable and make everybody laugh. What have you been doing lately? You've been all over the place. You've been on a press tour. You're in New York right now. What are you doing?
Yeah. So I switched the podcast to Betches Media, and Betches acquired the show. And so they are based out of New York, and it was like we launched it like last month. And then I came back. They had like a PR event where they're actually like introducing you to like PR people. Like this person's from Netflix, this person's from Variety. And I've never, I've always kind of been like on my own in the desert. So it's so interesting to have this team of people like push your show or like, hey, is there any possible way we can get this guest on? And there's like a person that reaches out and I keep apologizing to them. And they're like, no, this is our job. This is what we get paid for. But it's so exciting because listen, I just, it's nice to be part of a team, but the show is like obviously Bravo, but there's so much other pop culture in there. And we talk about movies, music, kind of just the gamut, other reality shows that aren't just Bravo, Golden Bachelor, which I'm loving. But it's this chance to kind of live my dream. And anytime I can come to New York, and it's like, listen, my mom passed away a couple months ago. So this has been the perfect, like, I'm just trying to stay as busy as possible right now to keep my head above water. And laughter, like I get so much laughter out of this that it's, so this is like truly a gift. And it really, I can't believe 4 years ago when I started this, that I get to be, not only talking to you, but some of the best people out there. I talked to Danny last week. I got to talk to Heather McMahon this week. I got to like all of these people. It's truly one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life is doing this.
Yeah, well, right on. It couldn't have happened to a better person. Love our guys. So, let's go over the state of Bravo, shall we? We're in kind of a changeover mode. I think Bravo's kind of always in a changeover mode. In one way, it's the same thing at all times. Like Housewives have been around for 18 years or something. So it's not like that's new, but they're constantly changing. And I wouldn't say evolving. I think that's probably the wrong word for Real Housewives or reality TV. Changing. Let's just say changing. Yeah. More than facially. They added the below deck thing that kind of became its own phenomenon. But otherwise, it's really been just this, right? It's just Housewives, the occasional Southern Charm or Winter House. The newest is the Real Housewives of New York. Their newest attempt to kind of evolve, if you will, is recasting the Real Housewives of New York. It's been super controversial. I change my mind about it probably every 5 minutes. What are your general thoughts on the reboot? How do you feel about it?
Listen, I think we were at a point where you have to start not to use the word evolving because we know Housewives don't evolve, but I do think it's okay to actually, there's new stories and new ladies that are always going to be fascinating. And I think we do ourselves a disservice to not realize that and champion new stories. I mean, there's new horrible women out there to follow. You don't think there's new, come on. And also these ladies like Ramona, Luann, Dorinda, they'll always be there. We're going to get Ultimate Girls Trip. They'll probably have an old school Ronnie at some point. If the demand is there, Bravo will not turn down a buck. But I like parts of New York has this good vibe because Salt Lake City is I feel like I'm on acid every time I'm watching it because it's amazing, insane. It doesn't add up. But then New York's a completely different speed. I think they got lost in the boonies a little bit. They could have done two less episodes. But for me, I kind of liked hearing new stories. I kind of liked seeing how the ladies took to cameras. Jessel started off the season where we were kind of who's that? And then by the end, we all championed her. And I love that. I love that we caught on that Sai was, partially miserable and hungry. I love all of that. And I'm so excited for the reunion on Sunday just to see how they play in that sandbox and see how Andy kind of handles that whole thing.
Yeah, I was just watching the preview before you came on of the reunion, and it was just Aaron going, I didn't say that. I didn't say it. What? I never said that. And then it cuts to Aaron saying it, which I just, she's such a liar. And it got me so infuriated already. And so I think that's a good sign of a Housewives show or really any Bravo show where you're just pissed off. And I think sometimes where New York, the old New York was veering off into cray cray town is that the anger was not fun anger. It was like, wow, Ramona, that's like racist. That's not the same. It's not fun anger. It's like grab a torch and pick a pitchfork and a torch, and get with the townspeople and go take down Ramona. Like that's not as fun,
That last season when Ebony was at Ramona's apartment and trying to talk to her about the election, and Ramona kept trying to use different tactics like laughter, tears, back to laughter, harder tears. She grabs her dog, puts her dog over her face, and I thought this is incredible. I was like, at some point, I was like, she's going to run out of her own building. She's going to run out of her own building. And, Ebony's going to have to be escorted out. And I forget, like, the fandom, we are so interesting because I remember we all talked about it, how miserable that season was. And then they actually do something about it. And now we find a new way to be miserable with these ladies. And I'm just like, you got to give it 2 seasons. You got to give Housewives 2 seasons. You never know. And I find if you build that foundation, which I think they did a good job of this season, when things really pop off, we'll actually know these ladies a little better. So it'll be that much more resonant when like insane shit does go down.
I agree that we need to give people at least 2 seasons. I do agree with that. I also believe in term limits. I've been a proponent of term limits for a long time. But yeah, I think they do deserve more of a season. That said, I think they went a little too sterile. I think they were like, you know what? The last New York really pissed everybody off. So let's make this one like as little on the offensive as we, as non-offensive as we possibly can. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the most controversial person, is just hungry all the time. That's their biggest complaint is that they're hungry and they don't understand why someone's husband wants to get miles to go out of the country. It's a little too much. You need insane people. And I lived in New York for 10 years. And if you're going to find insane people anywhere, it's that fucking city. So I don't know how they found this many non-insane people. I mean, these are a lot of people with no insanity. Give me some insanity.
Well, and then Lizzie, who was on the cast, they fire immediately because she did have an insane moment, supposedly. I'm like, wait, we couldn't ride with that? We couldn't even try to deal with that. So we go back to fighting about restaurants, text messages. Like, we're back to basics. And I didn't mind that. I just thought you don't need 13 episodes of that. You could have done like 11 episode season. But also to your point of like the editor trolls with the I didn't say that stuff. Why don't they do it reunions? Like, I want to see a big screen come down like they had at OC and make those ladies watch everything that they said that they did. Like, I want to see them watch themselves. Like they show us, but I want to see those ladies' facial reactions watching them get caught in their own lies. And I don't know why they don't do it. Like, Andy could have a little marker and circling things like they do on football. Like, look at this guy's pass return. I want to see that. We have the technology.
But speaking to that, they didn't admit it, even when they saw themselves being confronted with it. I mean, Shannon, you've got Shannon and Tamra there, and they're obviously well-practiced housewives. They've been around forever. But they would be confronted with things that they actually said, and they'd be like, no, I didn't. And be like, yeah, roll the clip. No, I didn't say that. Yes, you did. Roll the clip.
That's again. AI. Nope. That's AI, Andy. That's AI, and it's not fair what you're doing with my likeness.
Or especially Tamra. Or when Tamra started yelling at Andy and told him, shut the fuck up, just be quiet over there, or whatever she told.
You shut the up. Go sell your CBD, and you're lucky to be back. And wait, maybe what are your guys' take on this? Tamra, like I keep saying this on the show, Tamra, and I'm not endorsing this, but there's got to be witchcraft involved. How does everybody just buy everything that she says? Like you just said, Tamra will be like, no, I didn't. And people are like, well, moving on. Like, what are you talking about? How does anybody ever trust Tamra again? She's obviously iconic, but she must make you feel so at ease that you accept her lying to your face on a regular basis. It's truly astounding to watch.
Well, haven't you ever had that friend or that family member that's just so crazy that everyone's like, all right, like in my family, we're like, okay, mom, you're right. What are you going to do? You just, at some point you're like, I'm too old to fight. What are my options here? You just say, okay, let's go to lunch. And I think that that's kind of what it is with Tamara. And also people are, and they talked about this at the reunion when Andy said, and Heather said that Tamara accused Heather of saying that the only reason she was nice to Tamara was because she was afraid of Tamara. She said, I didn't say that's the only reason that I'm nice to you. I said it's the reason I won't go against you. I was like, well, that is the same thing. And it's true. I think it's universal.
It's time for a commercial. It's time for a Crappens commercial.
Watch What Crappens and Winter is Crappening are the funniest recap podcasts. But if you want something more eerie, try the new podcast Ghost Story, about my investigation into a murder-suicide in my own family. Ghosts aren't real. At least that's what I've always believed. Sure, odd things happened in my childhood bedroom, but ultimately, I shrugged it all off. That is, until a couple of years ago when I discovered that every subsequent occupant of that house is convinced they've experienced something inexplicable too, including the most recent inhabitant who says she was visited at night by the ghost of a faceless woman. It just so happens that the alleged ghost haunting my childhood room might just be my wife's great-grandmother, who was murdered in the house next door by 2 gunshots to the face. Ghost Story, a podcast about family secrets, overwhelming coincidence, and the things that come back to haunt us. Follow Ghost Story on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
Listen, Heather took her eye off the prize. She was so busy concerned with IMDb and acting this season that she did not realize she had to deal with somebody that was as potentially devious as Tamara, and I think it bit her in the ass. I'm like, stop worrying about auditions in Beverly Hills and get your head in this game right now, because Heather looked shell-shocked by the end of the season. She looked completely rattled, and it wasn't a complete Heather takedown season like everybody had predicted, but they did really manage to stick it to her in weird ways.
It kind of was a Heather takedown season. The thing is, when you're that rich, it just doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I think the audience looked at it and they're like, well, Heather still wins. I mean, she sold a house for $50 million. I mean, what did they spend on that house?
$55 million.
$10 million did they spend on it? She said like $10 or $11 million, and they sold it for $55 million. I mean, Heather does not give a crap what these terrible, track weaved crazy people think. Like, they all look like a bunch of corn stalks with, they look like a bunch of corn stalks with bee stung lips, like screaming at her unintelligibly. She literally does not care.
I mean, Heather took her kids to college on a private jet. Like, imagine me getting dropped off at Arizona State University on a private jet. Like, that was insane. And her daughter literally has like a comfy blankie on the private jet to drop her off at a college. That's like, I want to see more of that. That is extreme wealth to get dropped off at a college on a private jet.
It's a flex, but it's also a way to make everybody hate your children, don't you think?
Complete.
I mean, don't you think so? I feel like, wow, that's what way to ensure your kids are being college bullied,
Heather Dubrow gives 20,000 students a gift basket to welcome her kid.
Well, I love kind of a Heather takedown season, and I liked them yelling at Heather because I feel like what they were saying about Heather was kind of true over the seasons. Like, of course, Heather's full of herself. Of course, she feels like she's better than everybody else. Of course, blah, blah, blah. But she really didn't do anything to anybody in particular this season. It's almost like they fell into the trap that I feel like they do a lot on this show, where they want to take somebody down for whatever. It's like a Vanderpump thing. They could have gotten Vanderpump on so many other things, right? But they all decided, now we're going to take her down. But then Vanderpump hadn't done anything. Like, at that point, she really hadn't done anything. So they were trying to take her down over this stupid dog story. And it did work. I mean, I have to say, a lot of the audience is still like, fuck Vanderpump with...
Oh, it's wild.
I still don't even really understand why people are mad, but they could have gotten her on such other things, and so it didn't resonate as much when they got her on this stupid thing.
No, it's like cops taking down people on like marijuana drug charges. Like, what are you talking? Like,
Right.
this makes no sense at all. Like, what do you? And Lisa is still in Housewives jails in some circles. People are like, I never want to see her back. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you know how good it would be to have Lisa Vanderpump? Like, even in the last episode of this new season of her coming back, where she's like, hello, Kyle, nigga Lane. Wouldn't you love if like Ken was like, hello, Kyle, like goodbye, Kyle, hello, Kyle? I would love that. Like in the season on a cliffhanger with Lisa just popping up.
Oh, I happen to bring a magazine. Morgan Wade. She's just playing random Morgan Wade tunes in her house whenever she's having the ladies over for tea parties.
Yeah. I directed a video for Morgan Wade as well, Kyle. It's much better cinematography. Nickel Lane did the set dressing.
Turns out I was in Morgan Wade's first ever music video, darling. It just cuts to Lisa Vanderpump when she was like 25 playing the guitar.
The blacked out, like her tatas are out completely naked with a blacked out bar. I was dancing like a young nymph.
But yeah, to your point, it is kind of like when they took Al Capone. Al Capone had done all this stuff, and they finally got Al Capone on tax evasion charges. That is kind of the Housewives move, where they will take you down no matter what. And I feel like that's what they did to Heather this year. And they did beat her down. But by the end, I think that everybody agreed that Tamara was to blame for everything, but they still hated Heather. It was bizarre. It was really bizarre.
And it's interesting because it's Tamara, she's definitely not like Lisa Rinna was last season where people were just so sick of her. Because, it's weird. People appreciate that Tamara's back and what she brings to it. And they're almost, willing to look the other way. Like, she's fun to dislike. Tamara is fun to dislike. We all see Tamara's moves 10 miles away. Yeah. But it's just funny because these other ladies don't seem to see her moves again and again and again. And even Tamara, 3 episodes into the season, must have been like, I didn't think it was going to be this easy. I truly didn't think it was going to be this easy for me. This is amazing.
Well, it's one of those things where, those TikTok videos, this is terrible, I shouldn't even say this, but there's TikTok videos of people, stupid kids waving around the guns and then they shoot themselves in the foot or something on accident. It's kind of like one of those where
what TikTok videos are you watching?
Listen, I'm very old, but I feel like every time I've seen these videos, they've had the little TikTok thing on them. So I'm like, I guess that's what the kids are doing. They're shooting themselves on accident on TikTok. But anyway, I've seen a couple of them, and it reminds me of Tamara because Tamara's like a weapon, and everybody's like, oh, it's so fun. I have this weapon. I'm going to use this weapon against Heather, But then they shoot themselves in the foot with the same weapon. It's like it's still a gun. It's still very, very violent, and it does not care who it's being used against. You can be playing with it now, but then Tamara will use you to get at Heather, but then turn right around and start blaming you for everything as well. So
yeah. No, it Tamara, and also the fact that she was able to win Shannon back so quickly, and Shannon was like, I don't trust her. It's gonna be a while and then within third episode, Shannon's hugging her deeply, and
We've
I was
loved
like,
each other for decades.
Yeah,
oh, there's no friendships like this. What are you talking about?
Tamara goes, "You're my best friend, Shannon." And I'm like, no, Tamara's best friend is the show. Tamara's best friend is Real Housewives of Orange County. Nobody else is her best friend. Everybody. It's the show is the number one for Tamara. Everything else, but Tamara will totally lie to your face and go, "You are my best friend that I've ever had in my life, Shannon." And Shannon wants to hear that so deeply that it woos her.
Yeah. I mean, good Lord. She tried to 5150 you with Heather. Do you remember that? When they were like, I think she's losing it. Should we call someone? Should we call? You will all know the truth. You will all know. She's being dragged. What was that? Lizzie's house? Whose house was that? That weird fucking house.
That dinner.
With the kind of spiral-ish staircase that went up. And they're dragging Shannon up the staircase, just going, you will all know the truth.
Jim Bellino is watching begrudgingly. He was there. And then Shannon, it was so eerie, this Housewives, because I don't think there's been another reunion where they've had to flash up, if you or anyone you know is dealing with substance abuse issues. Every time they would go to a Shannon segment, they would have to put up that warning. And I was like, that is dark, because obviously they're like 10 days after this, Shannon was in an accident where she hit a house. And I just thought, wow, we're at a place where they're throwing up warnings now at a reunion to warn people about drugs and alcohol. And then they cut to a Shannon segment. That's wild.
Yeah, well, it's also so hypocritical. I mean, it's just Bravo. Like, they literally give these people so much alcohol to fight for ratings, and then they're like, if anybody you know has an alcohol problem, yeah, everybody on this cast. How about you turn the fucking camera around? Okay, what?
Hey, Bethany Frankel, if you're listening, this is at 22 minutes and 47 seconds. You're probably going to want to get this for whatever case you're building right now.
I can't with the Bethany Frankel case either. Listen, and I believe
did you
people
see that dinner
protected.
she had the other night?
What was it? Go ahead and tell us about that, because I live in my own planet. I saw a little thing on Instagram about it, and I was like, I really do not like her makeup here. That's all I got from it. So you go ahead.
That's all you got. Well, she did have makeup, but she had like I don't know what she was calling it. Like, I don't know. It's like the UN of bad vibes, but she was like at a woman's, I think she created her own women's summit or some sort, and provided like a buffet dinner. But Nene Leakes was there. You had the artist formerly known as Raquel Leviss. Rachel was there. Then you had Larsa Pippen. You had Larsa there. And then it gets really bizarre, because you had Jenny Garth from 90210 and Tiffany Amber Thiessen from 90210. You had the red-haired actress from Clueless. You had Amanza Smith from Selling Sunset on Netflix. And the only thing was, and then there was a couple like randoms that I still don't know who they are. But I was just like, what are you cooking up? It just feels, I'm like, what are you talking about at dinner? What's going on?
So do you think that was to get all these people for her reality reckoning thing?
I think, well, listen, they had that press release or that push on Page 6 last night that Vanity Fair is, the quote is has a deeply reported article coming out.
Ooh, very deep.
I was like, that sounds sexy, deeply reported. Do you want to get deeply reported with me?
Or really spiritual. It's like, okay, the housewives are being mistreated, but you guys hug your inner child. Okay.
But it's like an article about Bravo's relationship with Housewives. I just feel like we already know what's in this article. Just like you said, like, yeah, they probably do encourage these ladies to drink. We all celebrate these ladies' bad behavior. If you're going to do an article that's like confirming that, we already know that. They'll probably release it during BravoCon to try to like write off that press in a week and a half. But it just kind of reeks of like, I don't know. I just call her Frankel now. It just feels like she's Frankeling all over the place.
I don't like her. I think that people probably should be unionized in some way. I don't think people who have been on Housewives for 10 years should just get that $20,000 paycheck for their first 2 seasons or whatever they get, which is always nothing. We all know that they don't get paid anything for their first couple of years.
Yeah.
And even when they do start getting paid a lot, it's not Julia Roberts money. You know what I mean? It's not.
No, not at all.
It's
like,
still not
reality
the best
shows,
money.
They're like shoestring budgets usually, but it's like, do you even, so like I'm in Screen Actors Guild Union, like I'm in AFTRA, like can you imagine Tom Schwartz having to pay dues? He would completely forget. Like if there was a reality show union, you would have to remind these people they have to pay dues. You know, like could you imagine like trying to get one of these housewives to actually remember to even pay their dues for this union?
Well,
like,
that's true.
I'm all for better
there
rights.
Would be a lot of defaults. There would be a lot of people just being in the union for 5 minutes. And I don't think it should be for everybody. I don't think it should be like a season 1 Survivor person necessarily, or a 1 season Survivor person. But you know, these housewives, they are like, let's say they get paid $20,000 for a season. That season still plays every week. Like it plays in reruns forever, and they're called an asshole on the street for years, the rest of their lives. Like they never escape it. You know what I mean? Someone's going to bring up some shit they said 20 years ago on a housewife show because it just played that Saturday. And I feel like they should be compensated. Bravo makes money forever. Now, that said, I feel like Bethany Frankel is just trying to ruin it. And fuck off.
Yes,
Don't take away
I
my
think
housewives.
she's under the guise of trying to help, but I always feel she's trying to burn it all down. I feel she's a universe destroyer, not a universe builder. Yes. And I think there's like a difference. And like, I think unfortunately, since we do watch these ladies so much over decades now, that we do know their agenda. Like, it's like we've seen Bethenny in so many other business dealings that, wait, all of a sudden she grew this amazing heart and wants to protect everybody. Like, I talked to Captain Lee this week, which I know you guys are good buddies with. And like, he was very adamant of like, listen, when I signed up to do this show, like once they decided to use me, I said, the only thing that I won't budge on is safety. He was like, that's just where it ends for me. Like, I need to make sure this boat is safe. And I'm like, that's amazing. Like, he's always out there when he's doing this, trying to like make sure at the end of the day, that boat and those guests are protected. He doesn't care, like the show be damned. And I think that's like the attitude you have to have.
Well, to your world ender, Bethenny, she is like that villain from Avengers. What's the guy's name with the infinity rings?
Thanos? Yeah.
She's like Thanos. Did Thanos have a point? Kind of. I mean, is the world overpopulated? It is.
Ronnie's coming out hard. Hey, did you guys know Ronnie from Watch What Crappens said Thanos had a point?
He did.
He's disgusting. Ben, what is Ben doing? Yeah.
He had an argument. The world was overpopulated. And really, when
I'm rooting for Thanos.
Yeah, I mean, he was, he collected all the rings, and then you saw a bunch of the people disappear. And yeah, it was sad. But was it painful? Not really. I mean, it was like kind of painless. They just disappeared. And then you were like, you knew a bunch of deer came out. Like when everybody had to stay inside because of COVID, like when that first happened, and everybody stayed inside. And they were like, the world is coming back to life. And, suddenly there are deer on the freeway and bears raising their children in streams or whatever. I feel like
there's no smog in LA.
Bethenny it's like she kind of has a point, but she's still, at the end of the day, you're rooting for the Avengers to like get her in the end. I really do want a showdown in New York City. I want to see someone throw a cab at her. Like, I've had it. And at the end of the day, I still stand for Housewives over you, ma'am. Get the hell out of here with this.
Oh my God. Could you imagine in Times Square? It's like Bethenny's in the middle and like the Avengers, like Luann, Ramona. So they're all around her, like just like throwing weapons to each other to like defeat Bethenny. And then like the final blow is Jill Zarin, hey!
Just you see cab windows breaking out, buildings crumbling just from that.
Allie, come here. Allie, are you getting this? Allie, do you got a good shot of me defeating Bethenny?
Isn't Allie looking great, everybody? Look at Allie here. Allie, do you have anything to say to Thanos?
Allie's got a very nice boyfriend. We're very happy.
Look at Thanos, collected all of the rings. Isn't that something? He collected all of the stones. I've been looking for those stones forever. And you know what? Don't forget to thank me. I introduced you to the people who showed you what those stones were.
Commercials. Here comes one right now.
What do you think about this new season of... this is just neither here nor there, and unfortunately, I don't have an editor to edit this out, but half of my face is shaded, and it's really making me crazy. It seems like an artistic choice, but it's not.
Wait, by the way, if you guys are watching this, once Ronnie started talking about Thanos, half his face went dark. Like, it was evil Ronnie. It was like Thanos had a point, Ryan, no matter what you want to say.
What the hell? The sun's coming right there. Okay, so let's talk about the state of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which is coming back this week. How do you feel? Are you excited about it? Success or no success? What do you see in the future for Beverly Hills?
I'm excited. I think we've got to be excited about these things. Like, let's see what they have to show us. I'm excited to see a season without Rinna. I'm excited to see how Erica Jane tries to get along with these women, and I love that she's like, do they still want to see Erica Jane? Do people want to work with me? I love that she treats herself like Lady Gaga. I love that we've I can't wait to see if she's still in that little pool house that they show from the sad back, the place that she lives in now. And then on top of it, watching Sutton I feel like this is a really big season for Sutton, where she's gonna be completely off the wall, probably half villain, half hero. And if you watch that first episode, or even the first 7 minutes, Kyle's going through Kyle's really going through some growing pains. She's in like a Dawson's Creek kind of thing where I feel like she's discovering her body, her sexuality, herself, her marriage. She's getting tattoos. I think it's really exciting to see somebody that we've seen so long on this show go through a really big shift in their personal life. And I don't know. I'm very hopeful. My thing is, we'll know within like 4 episodes if this thing's going to fly or not, but it's Beverly Hills. The fashions are already completely ridiculous. If you look at the like talking heads, you've got PK, like the show opens up with PK eating like 2 bags of potato chips. And I'm like, that's it, man. That's like salt of the earth PK. And Dorit's like, what are you doing, PK? Your cholesterol. And they immediately go to a spiritual advisor in the first episode named like Eagle Feather. I'm excited.
Well, Beverly Hills is a reminder that Housewives does not have to be exciting. I mean, really, if you think about the past few years of Beverly Hills, nothing happens on that damn show. And we're still very excited because the things that end up happening, the Kathy Hilton stuff where Ren and Eric are accusing Kathy Hilton of, being a terrorist, which I still believe, but still don't blame, still don't care about. Like I was still Team Kathy.
2 things can be true at once. 2 things can be true at once.
So when that happened, that was all the way at the end of the season, and they rode the entire season on that coming up on Beverly Hills, and we still enjoyed this. I mean, I've still enjoyed pretty much every season of that, even though it's gotten real bad. Kyle's always been one of my least favorite housewives. She makes me crazy, but I'm so excited to see a woman in Beverly Hills go through this middle-aged crisis with the not teenager, I won't be that gross, but Morgan Wade is really young comparatively. And I love it.
Yeah.
Like going for a young, hot ass, person to cheat with after finding out your spouse has been cheating all this time. Allegedly. Not sure that that's what happens. That's my guess. I'm
I like that.
kind of
And also
excited
Morgan
for
Wade.
Kyle's season.
I'm just excited for like Morgan Wade's voice of like, hey, Kyle stalked me. She has this kind of, she has this like
little bubble gut voice. Talks like
she
it's gonna be
stalked
hard
me.
because I do that. Erica Jane's like this, so I'm gonna have to figure out a way to do Morgan Wade's voice,
But and differentiate it.
No, it's some call it a sling blade. Yeah, you put mustard. Remember Billy Bob Thornton?
Man,
No, and then Dorit's shocked. She's like, Kyle, she's getting your initial tattooed on her. Like, Dorit has never seen anything so scandalous in her life of Morgan Wade getting a K on her body.
Is that what it is? Doesn't she get an M on her body for Morgan or something? What is it? She gets a K?
Listen, I'm sure, but I think it was a K, and Morgan was getting the K, and she's like, Kyle, she's getting a tattoo of you? Beep, boop, bop, beep, boop, boop, boop. Like, it's insane. And then Mauricio having to like, I don't know. It's wild. But Kyle's love of country music has finally gone too far. Like, she started off like a huge Casey Musgraves fan, and now she's like, I love that she's out there scouting people like Berry Gordy with Motown. She's like, I love this Morgan Wade. And then she found a way to get in Morgan Wade's life.
Because that is what she did, right? She went out and she liked Morgan Wade, and then she became her manager or something. What the fuck is that? Kyle's a manager? That's true, right? Isn't Kyle managing her career?
Well, she's doing a documentary of Morgan's. She got Morgan like a bunch of articles in the LA Times. Like, all of a sudden, Kyle's like a mover and a shaker in the music industry. But Kyle, we've known, like, Kyle's loved country music. She used to have like that framed photo of Casey Musgraves in her house. So I feel like this is Kyle's like, it's like a starter Barbie doll. She's like, oh, I'll be able to like, kind of see how this works. And I feel like if this really goes well, she'll just start representing other young female country singers.
Oh, Kyle. Just, good for you. Good for you, hobby country music star hobbyist. I mean, listen.
Kyle Chella, man.
Yeah. I mean, I've been mad with Kyle over the years just because I don't like her on Housewives. She's made me crazy. Also, I will never forget the Lisa Vanderpump takedown. I just won't. That's something that's going to bug me forever. But, I do support a Kyle seat. And it's hard also after having to watch 2 Halloweens with Kyle in it. Like, I literally watched both of those films. I can be as hateful as I want to be, but I still will go watch your stupid movie. Am I watching it to make fun of you? Of course. But they were so bad, and Kyle was so bad in them.
She wore all those rings. She was like that. She was like getting into character. She wore all the rings. That's where she started her tattoo fascination, was on that movie. And she was like, she was like the bartender. It's so funny when
But
it's
that
like
didn't
Kyle.
happen until the next movie. Where did that character even come from? Because she wasn't that in the first redo movie, but then the second one, she's like, I read tarot cards and bartend.
I think she told the producers, like, if I'm going to come back, you don't have to pay me, but I gotta do Daniel Day-Lewis shit. Like, I want potentially an accent. I want like more tattoos, rings. I want to look like Johnny Depp,
And also, I want to manage Michael's music career. So I will not be coming back. Like, okay, Kyle. Okay.
Remember when she said she said Michael Myers on a stunt gone wrong broke her face, and that's when she went and got her nose job. She was like, it was a stunt gone wrong on Halloween.
Yes. But a nose gone so right. Thank you, Michael Myers. Michael Myers will be playing at the Palladium soon. I'm managing Michael Myers' country career. She's like, damn you, Lisa Vanderpump. I still can't win. I still can't
Dorit's
win.
like, why is Michael Myers getting a tattoo of your name, Kyle?
What else is coming up? This new Winter House is coming up. This week, they are not going to be airing Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. They're trying to trick us.
What?
By putting Winter House in its place. Isn't that crazy? I just found out because I was making the schedule for the week, and that's what Bravo's schedule says. So what the hell? I'm supposed to go a week without Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? What's going to happen to the Greek lady? She's Greek.
No, Ronnie, no, I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to your show, but like I did do some digging. She's Greek. Angie K. I don't know if you realize
Greek.
that, but she's
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's the real deal.
We broke it.
Yeah. Did you break the news? Radar Online actually broke the news about Angie being Greek, so that's not just. And also, I'm loving Salt Lake so much, and I just love the constant references to the mean streets of Salt Lake. They're like, it's crazy. I heard on the mean streets of Salt Lake these rumors about your guy. And I'm like, every time they show the streets of Salt Lake, everybody's just casually walking and it's like beautiful snow. And they're like, the streets are talking about you guys.
I know. All those coffee clutches outside the temples, I love that every time they show it, it's like this holy, it's only temples of Salt Lake City that they show. And then they're like,
Everyone's talking about your husband getting it up the bum. Everybody.
come on, you crazies. And Angie's like, how dare you talk about my husband being gay? I've never in my life. Oh, people have been calling him gay 30 years. It's like, well, make up your mind. Pick a lane.
Angie, no, but you can tell it's like Angie K is half offended and half so excited to have a storyline of her own that doesn't involve Jen Shaw. She was like, you know what? My husband's dealing with some tough stuff, but this is for my future. This is like, it's like finally got the ball and she's running with it. And she's just so excited to have that. And she's like, wait, am I supposed to get into a fight with Monica now? She doesn't even know. She's like, am I doing good in the scene? It's really fun to watch. And I look forward to it every week so deeply because it's like a David Lynch film. None of it adds up. None of it makes sense. Mary Cosby finds out her son was married for a year, that lives in her house, and then she like has to go to Vegas because a year ago her Vegas house flooded. I'm like, a year ago? What? Like this Mary Cosby in a year ago? Like what has happened a year ago that you didn't know anything?
That is something. Okay, that show notes are probably 15 to 20 pages. Okay, that is no joke. Like writing down every single thing. Then I went and talked about it. Ben was out this week, so I did it alone. So that's even more like sitting there concentrating on what's going on. There is so much going on that show. I didn't even realize that Mary said that about her house flooding and going a year ago. Like it didn't even. This show's so crazy. It didn't even click with me until I was reading comments and people are like, "How could you not mention?" that Mary Cosby's house flooded a year ago and she has to go take care of it. That's how crazy that show is.
No, and then you even feel crazier because the only person that'll really do, or Mary will allow to do one-on-one scenes besides like a fish fillet sandwich, is Meredith Marks. And Meredith treats her as an equal. Meredith will be like, you're show-wise, Mary. You're just show-wise. I agree with everything you say. And Mary will just say the most batshit things. And Meredith will be like, you're so funny, Mary. You're so correct. And I just don't get it. Like, I feel like I'm going insane, but I can't turn away. It is my favorite season.
She loves the crazy. And then so speaking of last thing, let's just quickly talk about this winter house. This is an interesting thing they're trying to do. And this is another thing in Bravo trying to kind of change it up, because the winter house idea isn't a bad one, right? They have summer house where they get a bunch of dum-dums who are somewhat good looking together to possibly fucking fight for a summer. And then they just figured, hey, let's just do it in winter house. We'll shoot 2 or 3 weeks. Cheap as hell. These people who work for Instagram likes. But it was getting a little stale having just the summer house people and a couple of randos thrown in. So now they've decided to bring in, they're calling it Summer House Below Deck Family Karma, even though they've only got one guy from Family Karma. So
yeah, Brian.
What do you think?
I'm always for like that kind of like shared universe where we're all under the same sky. I like those things, and I wish Bravo had hopped on that earlier, because like 90 Day Fiance like really scared the crap out of me about like throwing all of their cast members in different iterations of the show. So I'm down for it, but it also makes me laugh of like, you know, all these people are like snowboarding enthusiasts, and like it just cracks me up that they're out there, they want a hot tub. It's like really basic, it's really simple, but I dig it. I think the cool thing about this is we get to see Schwartz try to like do the like, oh shucks, man, because Schwartz is coming like in like the heels of Scandival. So he's like, oh, me and Tom were supposed to do this together, man. Which, by the way, at your Crappy Awards, I was sitting next to Ariana that night, and that's, you know, this was like a week and a half before Scandival all broke, was at the Crappies, and she was talking about that like Tom and Tom were supposed to, like, were hosting Winter House. They were the ones supposed to host the whole house. It was like their house to lead. And then Scandival broke like a week and a half later, and it changed everything. But it is interesting to watch Schwartz go like, oh, I've just wanted to snowboard so hard and for so long, and I've just been dealing with so much. And then you have Malia from Below Deck like narking on everybody. I mean, I'm down to watch it. It's going to be easy to watch.
I love that Malia came as a brunette this time, like to try and change her reputation. I mean, it's so funny how that works. Like, I'm a brunette now. I'm not an arc. I'm a brunette. So
Have you seen this woman?
I'm not down for Malia necessarily. I will never forgive her either. I'm not a very forgiving person, but I do love a good villain, and hopefully she is a good villain and doesn't try too hard to get whatever. I mean, I don't know. Do you really need a good reputation to do whatever Malia does to do a bosun job? You don't need like a nice person reputation, you know? She's got a good work reputation. Anyway, I'm kind of excited to see it. But there's going to be so many Housewives on. All the Bravo recappers are about to enter a season of both a golden season, but also a hellish fucking season. We're all going to need to organize a group Bravo recapper vacation together, which we actually should do, you know?
Well, wouldn't that be, I mean, like, why don't we go to the Winter House? Why don't we rent that cabin? Just a bunch of Bravo podcasters. I mean, we can film it if we want, but just like go relax. Like, my knee won't be able to handle any snowboarding, but it would just be nice
Brian.
for Bravo. No, we need like a summer break. Like, teachers have a summer break. Why can't Bravo give us like a summer break from talking about these shows? And I know it'll never happen because of money, but it is wild because we have Beverly Hills, Potomac, Married to Medicine, and Miami all coming out in the next couple of weeks. And then I have a prediction that Vanderpump Rules will start in January because they were filming the title card sequence last week. So I have a feeling at BravoCon they'll show us some sort of teaser for season 11, and I feel like they don't want to let that air out of the bag with the intensity of the fandom. So I have a feeling they're going to rush that season out in January.
Are you going to BravoCon?
Yeah. Are you guys going?
Yes. No, we're not. And
really?
You know what? We're
You're not?
idiots
Okay.
for not going. And at first, I think we thought, the first BravoCon, we thought, oh, you have to be invited to BravoCon. We weren't invited. So that's kind of how we first thought. But then everybody's like, you idiots, you don't have to be invited. Everybody just goes. I mean, we are Bravo fans. We're not on Bravo. Why would they invite us? We're a fan podcast. Duh.
Well,
So-
you guys should be. No, but I mean, come on. I think people would kill to hear you guys host a panel or see you guys host a panel. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, there's like, it's like you guys, Danny, like there's like a people that just we associate, you are part of that brand, period. So the fact that they don't is wild to me. But also, Like you're saying, like I go as a fan. Like it'll
We
be
should
odd.
go
Like,
as
I
just
go
fans
there.
and hang out with everybody because everybody's going, and I feel like we're not going. And
Yes.
it's like a big group trip. You know, in high school, I didn't go on the European trip. You know how they have that where like
Yeah.
my parents like, if you want to go, we can try and do whatever to get you to go. And I was like, I'm not going to go hang out with everybody in Europe, and they don't have air conditioning. And where's my McDonald's going to be? I think it was as big back then, and I refused to go. And that's one of my biggest regrets. And I feel like this is Bravo recap or European trips, European class trips.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, like last year I went and it was like I barely survived, but it was the time of my life. You get to meet all of these people that love the same shows. You get to argue about the stupid arguments that you had all year, but you get to do it in person. You get to have drinks. You get to have, I mean, like it's just, it was really just, I mean, I hate to sound corny, but it was a magical experience. And in Vegas, I mean, to be able to see Shep pass out at a poker table will be hysterical. Like somebody's not going to make it. You're going to be like, every day you'll hear rumors about like which Bravo Leb hooked up with which Bravo Leb. I mean, that kind of stuff will be insane. You know, Sandoval was going to be running around like acting like nothing happened. Like, oh, dude, let's do this, dude. Yeah, pins and batteries. Like, I can't wait to see that. And Vegas just amps it up to a whole nother level. So I'm super. I wish you guys were going. Like, I figured you guys would. I was like, oh, we'll be able to drink there.
Darn it, we should. Maybe we can still go. I mean, I guess we could still get tickets. Maybe I'll ask because it would be fun to go. Anyway, we could talk about
just
this.
Email
off
Bravo.
there.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah, you're like, Ronnie, here's my bank account number. This is where you got to go.
Like, where are you staying? But yeah, it does sound fun. And now that the time is coming up, I'm getting super jealous. But I'm glad you're going. Are you going to be? You did a lot of coverage last year too, right, on your show?
Yeah.
So
I
everybody
did a lot
go
of coverage
follow.
and then yeah.
Yeah, go follow Ryan because he does a ton of coverage from BravoCon. You'll be getting a lot of interviews and insider information from inside BravoCon for those of you who are going to be there and for those of you who aren't going. Obviously, it's a great podcast besides, so go check it out. So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. Congratulations on Betches and every other great thing happening to you. You deserve every bit of it, sir.
Oh, I mean, I'm thrilled to be a part of this community, and I'm thrilled to even be able to talk to you guys in any capacity. You can have both of my knees. I hope the crappies happen again in January. I'm just so excited that I get to be part of the shared universe with you guys. And as always, I look up to everything that you do. And your audience is like second to none. You guys have the nicest audience of anybody out there.
That's true.
Like they are so. No, it really is. They're not dicks. You know, like everybody's really cool and so supportive.
Yeah, everybody's really cool. We really lucked out in that regard, for sure. And we love you, Ryan. Thank you so much for being here and doing this with me. Ben, feel better over there. We will talk to you next week. Ryan, have an amazing rest of your whirlwind week in New York, or as they'd say on Real Housewives, whirlwind. Okay? Love ya. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Watch What Crappens would like to thank its premium sponsors. Ain't no thing like Allison King.
Ashley Savoni, she don't take no baloney.
Strolling the park with Caitlin Clark.
She's not just a Sheila, she's a Daniela. Itchels. Aaron McNicholas, she don't miss no trickolas. She's never scary, it's the Green Fairy. Jamie, she has no last namey.
Hava Nagila Weber. Know your worth with Jason Kurth. Sip some scotch with Jessica Trotch.
She's always supplying, it's Kelly Ryan.
Kristen the Piston Anderson. Let's give a kisserino to Lisa Lino. Megan Berg. You can't have a burger without the Berg. Ruru LaRue.
The Bay Area Betches.
And our super premium sponsors.
Somebody get us 10 cc's of Betsy MD.
We're taking the gold with Brenda Silva.
Let's get real with Caitlin O'Neill.
Don't get salty with Christine Pepper. Can't have a meal without the Emily Sides.
Nobody holds a candle to Jamie Kendall.
She's not harsh, she's Jill Hirsch.
She's a little bit loony. Junie. My favorite Murdo, Karen McMurdo. We love him madly, it's Kyle Pod Shadley.
Let's go on a bender with Lauren Fender. We want to hang with Liz Lang. The incredible edible Matthews sisters. Nancy Cease and Desisto.
Give him hell, Miss Noel.
She's the queen bee, it's Sarah Lemke.
Shannon, out of a cannon, Anthony. Let's take off with Tamla Plain. She's quite the catch, it's Victoria Cotchett.
She ain't no shrinking Violet Kuchar. We love you guys.
Hey Prime members, you can listen to Watch What Crappens ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the Amazon Music app today. Or you can listen ad-free with Wondery Plus in Apple Podcasts. Before you go, tell us about yourself by completing a short survey at Wondery.